Hello, everybody. I'm pretty much going to start out this series of jQuery tutorials for you. And jQuery is something that's so powerful, it's absurd not to learn it if you're getting into web development or anything like that. It's something I deal with on a daily basis. It's unbelievably powerful. So we're pretty much going to dive right in, assuming that you know somewhat of what jQuery is. This is a tutorial to help you start learning. It's a JavaScript library. It's going to, and it kind of really goes by its tagline, it's going to help you write less and do more with JavaScript, and it's so easy to understand. So without further ado, I have my Notepad++ open here. So I'm just going to start an HTML document. And there's a header tag. That's great. And in the header tag is where we're going to reference jQuery, but I'll throw in a title as well. Okay, now there's two ways to reference jQuery. One is by actually downloading it and having it in close proximity to the file, whether that be on a server or locally, or you can use a content delivery network, or CDN, as most people call it. I would highly suggest using a CDN, and the one that I'm going to use is this one right here. This is jQuery hosted. It's http code//code.jQuery.com/jQuery-latest.min.js. And basically what this does is makes it so that you don't have to store it locally. It's stored server-side, and you don't have to worry about having the latest version of jQuery. So it's basically a way to include it without having it. So here's what we'll do. We'll write our first jQuery-enabled page. So what we're going to do is open up our script tags. Close them down here. And one of the functions that you'll probably write the most in jQuery is the document.ready function. And the way that this function works is, it used to be the case in JavaScript, most of the time you'd have to wait for the entire document to load before you would be able to execute any JavaScript. Now you can actually just wait until the document is ready. You don't have to wait for the pictures to fully download before some client-side scripting is run. So the way that you reference jQuery is by simply using $. And then in here, in parentheses and quotes, you're going to type in the selector. So we're doing a document.ready function, so I'm just going to type in document.ready, and I'm passing that a function here. Close curly braces, close parentheses. Great. So this function will fire once the document is ready to fire. So what I'm going to put in there is just some plain vanilla JavaScript for you. We're just going to put an alert, and inside that alert we'll just put hello world, and that's about it. I'll go ahead and save that, run it in Firefox. and we get a pop-up saying hello world. That's fantastic. So that's the first application. Now, typically in jQuery, what you'll have here is a selector. Now, if you know HTML and you know CSS, you're mostly going to be using CSS selectors here. And following the selector, you're going to have a dot, and then it's either going to be a jQuery function or some sort of event listener, such as the selector .click. .click being the event listener that listens for when something gets clicked on and executes a function on that. So let's actually look into that. But I highly suggest that you just memorize this syntax right here. And this actually should have a semicolon. So this right here, just memorize it, type it down 20 times in a row. Once you have it memorized, you're fine. So let's go in our body, and I'll just type in a paragraph tag, and I'll give it an ID equal to alert me. Fair enough. Okay, and in that we'll just type in show alert box, or just do show hello world. Okay, so we basically have a paragraph with ID of alert me. So in order to reference that, we're going to sit in our document.ready function, and if you know CSS, like I was just saying, then you know how to reference an ID. Well, that's exactly what we do here. We reference the ID. Okay, and this is followed by an event listener. So the event listener is going to be click, and upon click, we're going to reference a function. Okay. So once alert me, as this ID down here gets clicked, we're going to call a function, and we'll call the same hello world function. Okay, I'll go ahead and save, and I'll go ahead and I can just refresh here in Firefox. Okay, now we have our paragraph tag, and what's going to happen is we have this event listener click over here. So I'm going to go over here and just click on this, and we'll get a hello world function going. There's also simply jQuery functions. So this is an example of a event handler. Let's call a jQuery function. So one thing that we can do here is, let's make another paragraph. Okay, I'll give it an ID of hide me. And we'll grab some lorem ipsum or some shit. Okay. Okay, so now we have an ID, or paragraph that an ID of hide me. So we have alert me here, and when that's clicked, we're going to execute something. So this is an example of an event handler. Now we're actually going to use a jQuery function. So once somebody clicks on hide me, we're going to call something. I'm just staring at this for a second because syntax high living seems to be a little weird. Looks fine now. Okay. So once that's called, we're gonna, instead of calling another event listener, we're just gonna reference the new div, which is hide me. And we're just going to call a function on this. And it's a jQuery function called .hide. And that's all we really need to know. So this function .hide is wrapped inside of this function, which is wrapped in the document.ready function. So let's go ahead and go back to that page. I'm going to refresh, and well, it still says show hello world. That's kind of just laziness on my part, but once I click, it's going to hide that paragraph. So that's just a quick tutorial about the powers that jQuery can have, and this is just so basic. We're going to get into some very intense stuff later in the series, but I just wanted to show you the core basics that you're going to need to go through this course. And the more CSS that you know, the more you can leverage that toward learning jQuery. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll have some more videos coming.